Hey guys, I'm Dane, and as you all know, there's been a ton of changes to most, if not all, of the weapons in Battlefield 4. So ever since the patch, I've played around with different weapons just to try and see if there's any hidden gems, or if previous gems have become plain rocks. And I gotta say I found a hidden gem in a place I wouldn't have thought at all. The F2000. So now I'm taking another look at the F2000. I made a review of the F2000 a few months back where I basically felt like it was useless. I couldn't hit a wall if it were right in front of me, and I rarely got killed by it. Of course, some people in the comments stated that they loved the weapon and used it all the time, but back then I never got killed by it, and as said, I couldn't use it. The F2000 and me weren't friends or even able to work together at all. But boy, has this dirty rock turned into a fine gem. I stumbled upon it while streaming and cycling through all of the weapons here and there, and it felt awesome. For some reason I kept going on one kill streak to another, and it felt versatile enough to handle multiple situations. The things that have been changed in the spring patch was mostly nerfs made to the bullet spread due to the 850 rate of fire. But the change that I think made it work way more for me was the first shot multiplier being reduced from a 3 multiplier to a 2.4 multiplier. And of course the start damage of 24.5 instead of the old 24 damage. Ordinarily, when you look at the changes and see all of these nerfs made to it, you'd ask why I think it's a hidden gem. Well, I thought the same thing when I had a look at it after I tried using it for a bit, but you have to keep in mind that the spread increase, decrease, and maximum and minimum was more or less nerfed on all high rate of fire weapons and buffed on low rate of fire weapons. So if you keep that in mind, the F2000 was actually buffed. Now with the lower first shot multiplier, I'm way more comfortable with using it at multiple ranges instead of just close to medium range. I'm actually able to do pretty well at long range as well. Looking at the Synthic stats for the F2000, just for you guys to see the exact stats of the weapon, you see that the rate of fire is 850 as previously stated. The muzzle velocity is at 600 meters per second, so it's actually quite decent at hitting moving targets at range. The damage model is rather standard with a 24.5 damage up close that drops to a minimum damage of 18 at 60 meters. The reload is quite long at 2.7 seconds short reload and a 3.4 seconds long reload. I'm not a big fan of these long reloads, especially for close quarter weapons, but hey, it's a way for DICE to balance them out a bit. The reload threshold is at 0.84x, which is the highest out of all of the assault rifles. And for those of you who don't know what this is or what it means, it's basically a threshold for how much of the reload animation you have to go through for the rifle to recognize the magazine and the bullets. So if you go through 50% of the animation and switch to your sidearm and then back, you gotta go through the rest of the animation for the reload to complete. You can quick swap, you just gotta do it when the animation is at 84% completion, for the rifle to be 100% ready once you turn back to it after switching to sidearm, hence the 0.84x multiplier. The recoil pattern is 0.375 left pull, a 0.275 right pull, and a 0.32 vertical pull, and a first shot multiplier at 2.4. The spread increase per shot is lower than the AEK and the FAMAS, but they're high rate of fire weapons. And the recoil decrease of the F2000 is higher than the AEK and the FAMAS too. The moving and standing hipfire accuracy is better than the M16A4, the AEK, the ACE-23, the M416, the AN-94, and the AR-160. And this is basically because it's a bullpup designed weapon. I compared the F2000 to these assault rifles as they are the most commonly used rifles. So you see that in a hipfire panic situation up close, the F2000 is a better choice compared to these rifles. That is if you're the type to end up in situations like these quite a lot, or just for getting to ADS. The ADS standing accuracy is 0.5 points worse than the previously compared weapons. They're at 0.2 and the F2000 is at 0.25. But moving accuracy is 0.2 points better at 0.8 compared to the other weapons with a 1.0. So it's also a great weapon in case you're the running and gunning type, kinda like me in, well, most situations. The way I ended up running this weapon for most versatility across multiple ranges while still performing excellent at close, medium and long range was an angle grip to ease up the first shot multiplier, and therefore increasing my accuracy at medium and long range, and I slapped a compensator on it as well to compensate for the rather high side-to-side recoil. Of course, there is some side effects as low spread decrease when you have these attachments equipped, but it's almost non-noticeable because this increased time is extremely low and it's only a matter of a few frames extra for the spread to reset. Therefore, the increased controllability I gain from the angle grip and the compensator makes up for the downside of having them equipped. Make great use of cover. Duck in and out of cover to win firefights at longer ranges because you're at a disadvantage. And in closer quarters you're gonna be doing better, just still gotta make use of cover as this gun is a slow reload at all times. So make use of dodge and weave, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and you should be good. Now you might ask why I run attachments, as there's a downside to them, but they aren't really noticeable because the downside really depends on what weapons you're using with and with what attachments. High rate of fire goes great with a stubby grip to reduce the spread increase per shot, and then with a compensator or muzzle brake depending on whether the horizontal recoil is hard to deal with or the vertical recoil. Lower rate of fire weapons tend to have less recoil and therefore benefits from a heavy barrel, but that is only if you want more accuracy. It doesn't necessarily need a heavy barrel, but well. And then I tend to slap an ergo grip on there. The reason I say ergo grip is because low rate of fire weapon has really low spread increase per shot, so they benefit more from moving ADS accuracy and hipfire accuracy to increase greater versatility and mobility. But if you want extra precision at range, you should go with the stubby grip. The threshold for when a weapon is low or high rate of fire is at 750 RPM. So above 750 RPM I consider high rate of fire, so I tend to slap either muzzle brake or compensator on there depending on the recoil for better controllability, and then with a stubby grip. With the F2000 I use the angle grip for less first shot recoil, as said before, to make it easier to use and make it a bit better at long range, but that's just because it fits my playstyle. Below 750 rate of fire, I make more use of a heavy barrel and an ergo grip. Unless it's a DMR or a Scar H with high recoil but low rate of fire, then I use an angle grip and a muzzle brake. On that note, I'd like to add another thing. You can look at stats all day long, compare what your weapon would benefit from the most as much as you want, but when it comes down to it, the stats are only a guidance. This is a calculated machine, so to speak, but you and me, we're not. So that means that even if I benefit a lot from a certain grip and barrel attachment on a weapon and it suits my playstyle the most, it might not be the case for you. We are not robots, and it always comes down to our preferences, playstyles and muscle memory. So I might do terrible with the Ace 23, which I do, where others rock this rifle. This is just because it comes down to how we play the game differently. I just want you all to keep this in mind. I can give you guys my recommendations on how to run a weapon or gadget and how to customize it, but in the end you gotta try it out and see if it's something for you. And even then play around with it so it suits your playstyle, so customize it even further. I gotta say that I was quite surprised when I used the F2000 during the stream, especially at how awesome it suddenly felt. I don't know if it's because all of the high rate of fire weapons have been brought more in line with each other, or just the plain fact of a buffed first shot multiplier for me to be able to do well at longer ranges. I mean, let's face it, I'm a long range fighter and I love doing those, but I need something that works well in other areas too. And the F2000 has been improved in the long range department while still being better at close and medium range. This way I'm able to be versatile with this weapon, doing well up close but still be able to put up a fight at long ranges. I know this isn't meant for long range, but I think that it's great that it's better at it now, at least a bit easier to control. Remember, this weapon is intended for medium and close range, and it performs the best in those ranges. I just like to customize weapons for my playstyle and for versatility. And if you haven't tried it ever since the patch, or you previously didn't like it just as I did, I highly recommend you to pick this weapon up and give it another try. I'm glad I did, because boy do I love it now. It kinda, I say this with a bit of nostalgia, and yeah, it kinda feels like Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3 F2000, but it's still a tad different. I can't really put my finger on it, but at least now it feels a bit more like the old F2000. It still doesn't really beat my go-to weapons for versatility, the AR-160, which is my favorite, and then the M416. And that's it for this review of the F2000, if you will. Let me know what you guys think of the F2000. Do you hate it or do you love it? If you use it, let me know what attachments you run with this weapon and what playstyle you use. So yeah, Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you found this useful and it made you want to try it out or try different weapons out. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more and future content on my channel. Oh, and don't forget, I'm live almost every day on Twitch at 9 PM CEST. Come join and we'll have fun. No homo. And I'll see you guys in the next one.